Welcome to Response on Play Episode 3, where we're going to talk about the announcement for World's Prizing, the ban and errata list, and most of our group's LQ experience. I am Brian, joined by
Steph with a sleepy face today.
Jake, also with a sleepy face.
Andrew, also with a sleepy face.
And James with a hungry face.
I Could Eat.
I could eat James.
Please no.
Okay, well, we've got a few different topics, obviously, like I brought up earlier. But the first thing we're going to talk about is the participation prizing for World's 2024 Championships. This article doesn't really have any words in it, so we're not going to read it. We're just going to talk about it a little bit. Looking at them, we have a Universus World's 2024 mat in gold and a pin also with gold, which I think looks pretty good.
It looks pretty clean. It's the mat and the pin are pretty much just the same as the Nats ones, just with world instead of Nats and gold instead of silver. I mean, it's participation, so it's not really that big a deal, but I just still wish there was a bit more. But that's not what we're talking about.
It's the podium. Nats is silver. World's is gold. They
Mm.
got a theme going on here.
All right, fair. That's a very fair line to draw. Too bad my lines are never straight; they're always squiggly.
I have a question that's half
Mhm.
serious and half hopeful. Do you get World's participation from only participating in like the tournament, or are we gonna get it from doing side events too?
No, it's for the tournament because
Alright,
this
well,
is
I hate you.
participation.
You didn't need to tell me that.
This is at least for the tournament. Now, I
It
could
is.
see us getting something similar maybe during those, but I figure we'll basically just be getting prize wall tickets for all of
Oh,
our
yeah.
other stuff, and then we get to do
Mhm.
prize wall stuff.
Yeah.
Because it does say here in the article one of the few words it does say that the participation prizes we have a whole list of great items that players can get just for making it to the World Championship stage. So you have to be on the main stage.
Thank you, Linoko, for putting a tongue twister in this article for all of us.
Yeah,
that are
we just
tired to
can't-
try to say.
We can't pronounce participation.
We also have a Universus deck box. I think it looks pretty nice.
I
Jeez.
love these. I love
Yeah,
this.
So good.
Big ups for the deck box.
It is very good. I just also wish they would just sell these so I could buy them. But
Yeah,
haven't
what
played
about the
Nats
one
yet.
from
I have a
last year
strong
in a
suspicion.
heartbeat? That orange and black one looks so clean.
I don't even remember that one. I'm gonna be honest with you.
And then we also have, they get a box of Critical Role Heroes of Exandria. So they get it 3 weeks early, or I guess 2 weeks early for pre-release. And then we get a handful of participation cards. We have the old 2019 Gen Con All Might, the Myriatoga that was given out at Vegas, I believe it was. Or at least
yes,
I got one in Vegas.
it was Vegas. Yes.
A alternate art for Ferocious Attacker, the Godzilla card.
Looks pretty good. I really like the art on this one.
I love
Yeah,
that one. I
looks
need one of
great.
you to get into Worlds because I need that. And it's not gonna be me.
You don't even play this card.
Yeah, but I want it.
But
Also-
he is a Godzilla simp.
You are the
Yeah.
team captain. You're the best one out of all of us. You have to. It's on your shoulders.
It's you or nothing.
That's
Like
a lot of
Nerf.
pressure.
And then the last card is Storm of Arrows participation, which I believe is a different art than the one from the deck.
It is. It is a different art.
I have to look though. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a different art from the art from the deck. I mean, this illustration is very nice, and it's stuff like this that has me excited for the Exandria set that we're getting, because I want to see what kind of art they'll push out. I mean, we've already seen Harness Undeath. And that card looks fantastic, so that has me pretty excited for the rest of the set.
I agree. All the art we've been shown so far for Exandria has looked really good. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see more of it in the coming weeks and talk more about it, most likely in January.
I want to bring up something that I noticed that I really like is like we had this like AOT. We had 2 AOT sets in a row, and like AOT is kind of heavy, like as an anime, as an IP, and so
Mhm.
like a lot of the cards are kind of heavy. So I appreciate now we're shifting into Crit Roll, which is a little lighter. It's a little more like whimsical, so it's kind of like a little palate cleanser after all that.
Yeah,
And
I
then we go
agree.
back to AOT
Yeah, and that's okay because
and
we got to
Apocalypse.
got to enjoy this like fun silly thing, and now we're going back to sad.
And then a
Oops, here
bunch
I
of
go
other
being
silly
silly.
stuff because it would be
Yeah.
TMNT, Guilty Gear Strive, like
Yeah,
all sorts of exciting things.
yeah,
Yep, I'm excited for next year.
me too.
Word, totally. But
Sure.
that's slightly off topic.
Yeah,
Mhm.
real quick, just bringing it back to like the art for Exile. I mean, we got the look at like the box and the packs there, and I mean even the art on those, they look very good. So I'm very excited about the upcoming art in this next set.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Does
I feel
anybody
like
else
when
wanna
we
say anything?
rotated away from like just still screens and stuff, I think that's actually when the game shines the best. I understand that not every set can have completely unique stuffs, but I do appreciate when we get to see it. Another reason why I do like the manga style panels and everything from AOT. I think it's a real artistic flair, and I think that's one thing like to get excited about when you see it, in a game like this that is used still frames and stuff like that in a lot of things. But I feel like the art and the quality of the cards has actually evolved over time, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I hope we move more towards that in the future. I know that it's probably like prohibitively expensive to get like custom art for every new set, but I'm really excited about the art for Crit Roll. And I think it would be cool to see that for like maybe some cards for like Guilty Gear and for these other IPs where you would normally just grab stills.
And then now on to the ban and erratas. That was announced about a week ago as the time of this recording. And there was only one change here in December. And that was the change to Nato Monoma, in which he does not get to copy everything off of the character. He only copies enhances responses. I think just enhances responses.
Blitz and Form.
Blitz.
Blitzes
Yep.
and forms. Yeah. Sorry.
Yep.
Yep.
So basically, anything that's not a static, he can basically copy. I mean, this errata's fine. Like it kind of has to be done when you have these Titan characters with these very good like static effects. Like you have Rainer 2, which just by how Monomo's worded, Monomo can just go, okay, well, I can't transform, but I'm gonna go to 0. I'm gonna go back to 26. You can't kill me because I have that effect, Lamau. And also the static effect of Bertolt 2 on the backside. Like having that with a 6-hander could be pretty messy. Like it needed to be done because I think that's just a bit of an oversight when they printed the AOT sets of like, I think we just accidentally broke this set 2 character. All right, well, we need to fix it. So this errata is fine. It definitely was not what we were expecting.
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I don't expect anything ever. I just wait for them to tell me what they've made the decision on.
It's fair.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were hoping for different. And then it's really funny seeing everybody meme on the Monoma thing because everyone was like, who?
I mean, yeah. So that's the thing with Monoma is like he never really saw play like hardly at all, except for I think there was a few instances of like regionals and stuff where people had him in the sideboard as just a character tech to go against certain like matchups, which is fine. And I mean that's a neat implication for a character. And I actually like Monoma. And I've always, at least like early on, I was always trying to like make him work because I think he's cool. I just couldn't really figure him out. He just wasn't really doing anything. Wasn't really seeing a whole lot of play. So getting this errata was kind of out of nowhere to an extent.
Yeah, I mean honestly, I'm so glad they did errata him, at least for clarification, because he's been ruining my locals and all my tiered events. He's been a nightmare to deal with. He just pops up so often, and I'm kind of sick of playing against him. I'm so glad that they finally knocked him down a couple of pegs because he's been a real problem. I am so glad they touched the only issue with the current format in the current in the ban errata. I think it's great. Looking forward to playing against a bunch of Bertolt too at Nats. It should be fun. I think I'm glad I don't have to worry about Monoma the Boogeyman.
Well, speaking
enough.
of experiences in your locals, The four of you played your local qualifier. I did not. Mine is the then coming week. So let's talk about that a little bit and what everybody was up to. Why don't I start with you, Jake? Who did you play, and what was your placement? And we'll start from there.
Yeah, I played Edge Shot on good. I feel like there's a decent amount of tools that you can use on good that help him be survivable. So I went 1 and 2, unfortunately. I played against a Mount Lady round 1, a Smiling Titan round 2, and I played against a Paul round 3. I thought what amount of stun tech I would have for Paul would be good enough, but I blocked a couple attacks, and then he hit me for 20 with a funny punch, and after stunning my whole stage down, so it hurt a little bit. But overall, I feel like the character is fun. I will definitely be playing him for teams at World or not at Worlds at Nats, and I feel like it's really good spot to start on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Were there any particular standout cards or?
Lethal Slash, very good. I will make one note. I was playing 3 Fold a Body because I was like, yeah, I'll definitely see it with the amount of cards I'm drawing and like cycling through and stuff. And you kind of need it as your starter. I did have one good string where I was able to kill somebody without it, but as a rule, Fold a Body is kind of like the go-to starter, and so it feels really bad when you just don't see it. I am playing things like I'm playing Fierce Wings in my deck. As both a way to deal with Bertolt 2 and Godzilla, as well as to fish me out 3 difficulty attacks when I'm trying to string and kill my opponent. It just gives me another option with things I can play. It also helps me grab like Airy Smiles or something from the drop if I'm in desperate need for those. So it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. I think I might bump that up to 3 in the main board.
All right then, Andrew. Who did you play? How did you do?
So I ended up taking Kamui 2. I think that Kamui can be pretty defensive against some of the aggro decks. I ended up going 1-2, unfortunately. Round 1, I played against Ochako 4. Round 2 was Dark Deku, New Deku. And then round 3, I played against Bertolt 2. And honestly, it was a little rough. I was still kind of testing the waters for Kamui 2, if like he's definitely the de facto character that I'm taking to Nats. I mean, I'm definitely going to be playing him for the teams event, so I mean, I'm going to have him built anyway, but I think I'm still on the fence if I want to play him for the main event or not. I just need to do some tweaking to the list and just try to figure it out. I don't have much time, but I'm still just trying to figure it out if that is who I am taking to Nats. I did play against a good amount of aggro, and I do think to an extent Kamui held his own. Just I really need to figure out how to kill my opponent.
Fair. Very important part of the game. Any standout cards or cards that you didn't think did very well?
Funny enough, Midst of Despair. I think that card is good. It is very funny in Kamui, who can effectively gain a health at the start of my turn, and Midst of Despair comes in as a 5/6. Sounds pretty cool, but I never really had a moment where it felt impactful or really did anything special. I will say, to the opposite effect of that, I think Double Spirit Blast, that card is fat in Kamui too. He is really good because you just play it +1, and with Kamui you can throw in number 7 Pro Hero for another +1 to their block mods. So they have a +2 block mod before you even echo Double Spirit Blast. So that felt really good. So there are bits of the list that felt pretty good, but Mist of Despair was oddly lacking.
Okay. James, who did you play? How did you do?
I played Ochako 4 on Earth.
Okay.
I came in second place, played Kamui 2 in round 1, Bertolt 2 in round 2, winning both of those games, and then lost to Smiling Titan in round 3. Had a pretty good experience. I was playing a little pet version of the deck that I don't think is quite as good as just playing the good stuff. It was Earth Furies with Prominence Burn, because I've always kind of wanted to put that in a deck, and I felt like it would work good in Ochako. Played that, it worked well enough. I did have some lack of draw power issues. There were definitely a few times where I had the kill if I have another attack, and I kind of just have to pump the brakes for a turn. So trying to work that out. I think the character is very interesting. I know that they have been good in the past for sure. They won an event overseas. I think they might have the sauce to be able to aggro out some of these other setup characters or Titan characters, see people that kind of want to play a little bit of a longer game. So I'm kind of exploring that idea right now.
Any standout cards in that list or cards that you think underperformed?
Definitely adapting the plan. The new Outwit card that's response Outwit. After your rival reduces the speed of your attack, this attack gets +4 speed. With Ochako, I can build it in face up and then flip it with my character. And then if they have any speed hate, I just unflip it and commit it. And then if I have enough extra speed on board to push the attack through, if I flip it, again with Ochako or something like that, I can just re-ready it and then play it again. So it really makes repeatable speed hate not an issue as long as I have enough to push the attack through and re-ready the card. So that definitely overperformed into Kamui with things like Wind Barrier. We put it in, and I got +2 speed for the turn, which was a really good for a 1 card. So definitely the overperformer for the deck.
Okay. And then finally, Steph, who did you play and how did you do?
I'm gonna start by saying the only reason I did this is because I bought Deception Daggers and I didn't get them in time to put them in Godzilla, so I didn't play Godzilla. I played Bertolt 2 because it was the only thing that was put together, and I also wanted to win the Godzilla promos, which I did not win. And I just had to play Bertolt 2 anyway, and it was miserable. I hated every second of it. But I went 2-1. I played a Hawks first game who had never seen Bertolt 2, didn't know what he did, so that was kind of sad and also kind of funny to be like, yeah, this is Bertolt 2, by the way. And he I could see on his face as he was reading the front of the card, he was like, huh. And then he flipped it over and he was like, what?
Oh.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so every time I did something that was a Bertolt 2 thing, he was just like, what? And then I beat that guy. And then round 2, I played, I think I played Andrew round 2. Or did I play James?
It was me.
Yeah, okay. I played James, and then James beat me on Ochako. I got really unlucky quite a few times. There's a 2-check in that deck, and I checked it while building, so I built one on in one of those games. And then I also miscounted foundations because you gotta count foundations. I hate playing Titans. I hate playing transform characters. I hate counting. I hate math. So yeah, lost to James. And it was really fast. It was like 15 minutes, and then we were done, and I was like, well, I have 35 minutes left, so I guess I'm gonna go walk around. And I just left the store. I got a snack, and then I came back and I played Andrew, and then I beat Andrew's ass, and
Yeah, thanks. Not even subtle about it. It's like, yeah, I fucking killed him.
you got a game off of me because I miscounted. Possibly you would have gotten me anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of luck there in that last game there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
So-
horrible the entire time. Hated every second of it. Even when I was winning, I just hated it. Like the people I played against were miserable. I was miserable. We were miserable together. Like, what do you say when you're playing like an unfair character and they're just like, why can he do that? I'm just like, I don't know. And then the question they're asking in their head is, why did you bring this to like a friendly locals? And it's like, I don't know, man.
It's
I'm
a
sorry.
local
Whoa.
qualifier.
Yeah.
To
No,
be
it's not
fair,
friendly. There's nothing friendly about this.
to be
We're
fair, we
playing for
traveled
points.
2 hours to come
That's
play.
true.
So,
Well,
yeah,
we traveled 2 hours to come lose, but yeah.
well, speak for yourself. I traveled just to play. Losing
Fair.
was a false positive.
Yeah, I mean, I was still also like I was just testing the waters for Kamui too. So I mean, if I won or lose, it was irrelevant. I just wanted to see how the character did, and I think he did okay.
All right. So, Steph, you were saying you hated your time playing Bertolt 2.
Hated it. Every second of it. It was miserable.
So let's elaborate on that. You obviously didn't like this character, but you also think this character is really good.
Yeah, of course.
So then let's talk about that dichotomy. The difference between sometimes the difference between what's good and what's fun, and where we lie in that spectrum of what we gravitate towards as we play decks, play this game, build new decks, look at new characters, and how that influences our decision making and how we interact with the game.
Yeah, getting a little philosophical, a little psychological.
Yes, we have to cover a lot of time.
We do. True.
This has got to be an hour.
Yeah.
So we will start with you, Steph. Obviously, like you said, you didn't like this character.
I
So
did not.
what
Yeah.
parts of it do you not like? Or what parts of it do you find to be less than fun?
You know, I'm honestly surprised I didn't like it because I thought I would like Bertolt going into it. And I think I even told James this at a certain point. I was like, he does things that are similar to things that I like. So I've talked before when I did like the Joker build, I think when we talked in like a previous podcast, I talked about liking characters who do things that are a little off meta. So like Godzilla destroying the board or like Joker wanting to mill you out. Like I like alternate win conditions for games that kind of throw a little chaos into it. That's why I play on the chaos symbol, by the way. But yeah, I thought I would like him because he like blows up the board and then he says, "Well, I'm gonna play these attacks and then I'm gonna build these two things, and now you're only gonna have 3 foundations, and I'm gonna have 5 or 6 foundations or whatever." I just didn't like him though. Like I just, his front side was just kind of meh. I mean, it was great, like sifting through cards, but it just didn't vibe with me, like in my soul. That's all I can say is like the heart of the cards was not resonating with me. Like that was not my card heart, whatever. It wasn't for me.
You
Or
didn't have,
Bertolt was not me.
it didn't unlock Kingdom Hearts for you.
It didn't. It didn't. Bertolt too
Okay,
did
okay.
not. And I really tried to like him. And I obviously think he's really good. And I don't know. Like I tested him a little bit before coming out to the LQ, and then just playing it against people, it was like, this guy hates his life. I'm not happy while I'm playing him. And it's not even about winning, because like when I'm playing Godzilla against people and I'm winning, like I'm having a great time. Like I'm like dancing in my head. I'm like, this is so fun. And like even when I'm losing on Godzilla, I get mad sometimes, but like I'm still having fun because I like Godzilla and I like the deck and I put a little bit of heart into the deck. And I guess I have to walk back a previous statement where I said I don't really like give a shit about a deck as long as it's like someone else can build it and I'll play it and it doesn't really matter that much to me. It does matter a little bit. I have to at least care about the character, is what I discovered. And I don't really care about Bertolt, and I don't really care about that deck or what it does. So because of that, like I think I performed poorly because of that, because I didn't really care. And I didn't have any fun while I was doing it because I didn't really care about Bertolt or the deck. But then I came home right after and I got on TTS and I put together like this sloppy new Godzilla list and I played it into James and I had a great time. It was so fun. It was like coming home. I was like, oh my god, this is where I belong with Godzilla.
That tracks. And I mean, I had a similar experience when I was playing other decks, and then I'd come back to Ochako 2 and be like, man, she's just so cool.
Yeah.
That was me with Kamui 1.
I think everybody has that at some point. They're just like, yeah, this character, for some reason, this character is just so cool in my head. Like every time I want to play this character so bad. All the time.
Yeah.
Bakugo 1, baby.
Baku Bros.
Not again.
We here.
Ochako Hombres.
Oh no. It begins again.
Then where do you fall on the side of what's more important for something like the competition, whether you're having fun or whether you're doing well?
Well, I think it depends on the person. Like I mean, honestly, like some people are not gonna have fun unless they're doing well, and that's valid. Like I don't think that's like a moral failing. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like people like to win and do well, especially if you worked super hard on your deck, you built it from the ground up, you spent hours testing. Like probably not gonna have fun unless you're winning, and that's okay. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But
Agreed.
I think it's also valid the other way around, where it's like you could play the worst deck on the planet, but you're still having fun doing it, like Joker. So it doesn't matter, you're having fun. And so I think I'm kind of in the middle of that spectrum, especially with Godzilla, who's like my pet character. Like that's my one trick. I'm probably gonna stick with him forever and just retool him a little bit as each thing comes out. Maybe if another really cool character comes out, like Happy Chaos in Guilty Gear, maybe I'll
Hey.
You
swap over
would
to
be a
him.
Happy Chaos.
Of course I am.
Wow.
Of course I am. I love that
That
guy.
tracks. That
If,
tracks.
if he doesn't have the chaos symbol, I riot.
He has
I
to.
actually hope he doesn't. That would be
He
really
has to.
funny.
That'd be great.
Give him
He has
order.
to. Sure.
give him give him like order, fire, and I don't know,
Evil.
evil. Yeah.
But I think if you're asking yourself this, like if you're in the situation that I was, where you're like, and I think a lot of people are probably looking at this going into Nats, where they're just like, well, do I play this pet deck that I really like, or do I play the character that's broken? And I even said that, like, why would I play Godzilla when he's just worse than Bertolt 2? Well, the answer is because if you don't care about the deck, you're probably not going to perform well with it, because you're not going to feel like motive. You might, well, maybe you will, but I think most people won't feel motivated to perform well with like a deck that they don't care about. So if you're wondering, like, should I just dump this deck that I care about and I put a lot of hours into, just to play Bertolt 2, which I know is really good, or like maybe Mimic, which I think someone said has been performing well. I don't think that you should. I think that you should take what you're going to have fun with and something that you care a lot about and you put heart in. And I think you should like trust that and just go with it and not just play the thing that everybody else is playing just for the higher chance that you're going to win, because you're kind of off, unless you're a specific kind of person. I feel like you're offsetting the chances of you winning by playing a deck you don't care about, you don't have as much time in, and that's just kind of a, well, I'm playing it because it's good, rather than a character you've got a ton of time in, you care a lot about, you want them to win because you like this deck and you like this character. So that's my opinion on it.
No, I 100% agree with that. And I have a couple characters where I'm like, I really want to build this character because I want them to work because I like what they do. A prime example for me of a character that I really like and want to try to do well with is All for One, because I really, really like what All for One does. I have tried a handful of lists, and I'm just like, I can't really figure it out. Granted, the last time I messed with All for One was like, I think before AOT came out, so there's still some experimenting I could do, but like I definitely share that sentiment of you have to care about the deck, the character that you're playing, if you want to have fun or perform well, because I think it's just like this mental thing. So I agree with you 100%.
I want to go back, I know I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry, but I want to go back to what I said about how I'm a pilot and I'll play anything, and what Andrew said, like caring about that. So you don't have, like, it doesn't have to be you have to care about the deck and the character and everything. Like, I'm not a good deck builder, and I'm okay with admitting that, and I like just running decks. So like I will play someone else's good Godzilla list, but like I feel like there has to be some element of the deck or the character or whatever's going on with this list that you like. So I really like Godzilla. I really like what he does on his face, and that's why I would just play any Godzilla deck. I really like Bakugo. I would play any Bakugo deck as long as it was good. And I think that would make me perform well. Like the list that I took to Las Vegas, James built that for me. I didn't build that deck, So it was like, I think there's just something about it that you have to care a little bit about, or you're not going to perform well. And it doesn't have to necessarily be that you built the deck yourself, because I don't think there's anything wrong with just piloting it.
Oh no, not at all.
Find something that you care about and just kind of run with that as far as you can.
Yeah,
You just got
absolutely.
to pass the vibes check for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree
for
with
sure.
that.
That's the biggest thing. I mean, I did something similar in Atlanta. I was going to play Mikasa, then they got eroded. Reiner was testing Reiner. He got eroded as well. I don't think Reiner was bad at that time. He just didn't do what I wanted him to do anymore. So I kind of fell off the list because I really enjoyed the turn 2 blow up your whole stage, kind of style that he had, because I thought that was fun.
It
When
was
they
pretty
eroded
messed
him,
up.
yeah, it was messed up, and it was fun. And as you guys know, I'm a degenerate. I like just doing the things that are a little bit unfair.
We know.
Oh, we're aware.
But so when he got changed and then Mikasa got changed, I was kind of left scrambling at the end, because those were like the two characters I was looking at. And so I kind of just, after watching it on some streams, I saw Rodan and I saw Travis Tangeman's list, with the high velocity slice and the VMEs and everything like that. And I thought it looked fun. I used to play Eraserhead, so I took that list. I practiced it a little bit, tooled it a little bit for what I wanted it to do. Kept it pretty faithful to Travis's list though, and I don't know. I just didn't have a whole lot of time. I didn't I enjoyed the character well enough because they did what I like to do, but there was just something about the list that just didn't super vibe with me, and or I couldn't figure it out in the time that I had to practice it, and so I just ended up doing very mid at the event because I didn't have the time, but I just picked this character because I knew that Rodon was one of the best control characters, if not one of the best characters in the game at that time for sure. So I don't know. It was just kind of an experience where I picked up a deck that I knew was good, and I had a fine time. Like I enjoyed it, but I didn't do super well, and so that's where preparation also comes down for a lot of it. You want to make sure that if you're picking a deck or if you're choosing a deck, and you want to be competitive with it, you want to have the motivation and the time to put in the practice with it.
Andrew or Jake, do either of you want to weigh in on this opinion here?
I mean, I feel like I already like shared my sentiment for the most part. I am someone I don't really like playing meta decks. I just don't, because most of the time, 9 times out of 10, the meta decks are just not what I want to play, not what I enjoy looking at. So I'm not really a meta player by any means, or I think there was like 1 or 2 times in other card games where I was like, yeah, I like this deck. They're like, yeah, that's like top tier meta. I was like, oh, well, I like the deck, so here we are. So I just don't really focus on like the meta decks. I don't really want to play them because again, they don't turn out to be something I really want to play. So I just find something that I really like to play and I try to make it work with the meta. That's what I did with Kamui 1, kind of cycling back to that sort of discussion there. Kamui 1, I loved him. He ended up being like probably my favorite character in the game, or at least one of them. I really liked what Kamui did. I liked the way he played. It rewarded game knowledge and also just how you played your turn and how you defended effectively. I think that with the rules change, if you can't commit your character for foundation cost anymore, it hurts him a tad, but he's not in standard rotation, which is mostly what I play, so not really important. But I just really liked what Kamui did, so I always tried to figure a list out, make him work. And I always had a good time playing Kamui, like all the time. Never a dull moment when I played that character. It is very important to me that I have fun with the character that I am playing. Like I don't necessarily have to like the character from like the IP or something, because I mentioned All for One. I know dick about All for One, other than he's like a big bad in My Hero. I only watched the first 2 seasons of My Hero, so like I don't know anything about All for One. I just looked at his character card and I go, man, these words are really cool, and I like this. And I've thought about trying to like drum up a list for him. And I have a deck building problem, so I'm constantly building decks, which is I think that what stunts my growth as a card player. It is very important to me that I play what I like. And that's just what's important to me. I play what I like, and if it's good, awesome. If it's not, well, then I'll just try to find something else that I like that's either in the meta, or I'll just stick to that one character and go, no, I'm making them work. We're doing this.
So my opinion with what's meta versus what's fun, I kind of want to hit a good middle ground. I think that's very, 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 very important on not only success, but long-term playability of the game. I typically don't like playing characters I don't care about, also kind of in the vein of Steph. I think that I do have to care about a character to play them. I'm not necessarily straying away from the meta like Andrew, but I played Hawks for a good amount this year. I've been playing Aaron recently, and I think they're definitely in the tier list of like good characters, just figuring it out and putting the time in. I'm hoping that I can do well on what I'm playing, but like I played Edge Shot for our local quals like we were talking about, and they're cool. It's a cool character. I'm mainly looking to play them for teams at Nats because me, Brian, and Andrew are doing Team Lurkers.
That's true.
Hell yeah.
Doing Mount Lady too, who I think is really cool.
So I think that's pretty rad, and like the playability and us being able to do that as a group, really fun. I definitely think there's a point where there are characters that aren't very good, but if you put enough time in, I feel like any character can at least be mid-tier or swing up, in a sense.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we've seen that with some pros, right? Like, I don't know how good like Asui is, but I know like Tam, that was like his pet deck for a long time, and then he like topped with her, right?
Mm-hmm. With Osprey
He won an event.
Yeah.
he
so
won the
like,
web game.
and then there was a who's the guy that played the wall guy in Atlanta?
Erwin
He
Smith.
won. Yeah. Like, not saying that these characters are bad, but it's just like
It was unexpected. Like I think a handful of us were like, we looked at everyone's like, yeah, I think there's some sauce there. He's got some cool words, and then he won the event. It's like, oh wow, okay.
Well, yeah, you also had like a longtime pro behind the behind the deck.
For sure.
Was it Tim Keefe?
No, it's Kevin Berber.
Shout outs.
Speaking of Tim Keefe, though, I mean, back in KC, he piloted the Shiozaki list all the way to finals, and I believe he won that event as well.
I think he got second.
Jeffrey Kahn. That's right. Jeffrey Kahn won with 4 kind. But
Yeah, I was
anyway,
like, he got
a character
second.
that nobody really looks at, and he took it all the way to a second place finish. So they're definitely, with the time in, you can make these characters good.
Another character I also really like. I just like 7-handers, I guess. Like, I mean, I don't know, All for One's not a 7-hander, but I'm always looking at 7-handers like, I really like what this character does.
I
Yeah.
really like 7-handers, except for the fact they don't get to play the game half the game.
You
Because
just-
they
Yeah.
get one hit every time.
Keep it down over there.
Seeing a 7-hander as Godzilla, that's tasty. That's yummy snack. Like,
I mean, yeah, that's why like it makes me sad that I can't really play a 7-hander right now, because I have other lists that I've made. They're all, most of them are 7-handers. I'm like, I can't really play this competitively because they will just die.
yeah.
It's fair.
Who was the guy you were looking at though? You were like a guy I really like, and then you said 7-hander.
Oh no,
He was
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
she's-
Ibarra
Oh, you were
Shiozaki.
Oh, my bad. We can cut
yeah,
that.
yeah. Shizaki, I really like that character quite a bit, and she has risen pretty high on like my list of favorite characters. She seems so simple, but she's just very rewarding and fun to play when you string your attacks just right. Being able to top with a character that's a 7-hander, she has 19 health. I think it speaks volumes of a player's ability.
I have to ask. I have to. Is it because you truly like Shiozaki, and this is no judgment, or is it like a waifu effect? Like,
No,
it's because she's cute.
no. It's the same thing with All for One. I don't know anything about the character.
Is it because All for One's cute?
No.
he's just really into plants. Kamui
That's-
Woods, Shiozaki Ibarra.
Oh,
mean-
fuck!
We figured
Plant
it out.
guy.
The plant guy.
Plant guy.
I'll be the first to admit, like, that's the only reason I'm like looking at Happy Chaos. Like, I don't know what he does, but I'm gonna make him work. There is
And
a
that's the only
waifu
reason you're
effect.
looking at Godzilla.
The only,
It's
yeah,
true.
the only
Yes,
reason
man.
you're playing Godzilla.
There's nothing wrong with that. I will simp so hard for these characters. I don't even care.
Yeah, no, like there's nothing wrong with it, but that is not why I like Shiozaki. I truly like how I like the words on her character card.
Yeah, you like the art on her character card too.
Yeah.
Who are you?
All the green bits. Yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, playing certain stuff is I feel like there is decks you can take if you go, I'm gonna put the time into this. Again, shout out to Kevin Broberg. I think seeing Erwin at that event, super cool.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard he was top in
Yeah.
day 2, I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah, that deck was
Um,
cool too.
Yeah, the deck is so cool. So big ups. Yeah, I think you can kind of play a lot of stuff if you're really committed. There's like 1 or 2 characters you really play. I kind of feel like I get like switchitis where I'm like, oh, I want to play all these here. Like right now, I've been playing on TTS and I've got like 6 decks I've been like messing with. I'm mainly looking at Aaron 2 and 3 are like my big like I might play. I also kind of was leaning back on maybe playing Hawks. And then I was like, well, if I'm playing Edge Shot for teams, maybe I just play Edge Shot in the event. Do I think Edge Shot can play in the event? And then I've been looking at like some Levi lists because I think Levi can do a whole lot of cool stuff. And then Deku's my boy. I collect Deku. I'm a Deku dude. I always look at that and I go, and I try to rein myself in. So I'm still even reined in, looking at like 3 to 4 characters right now, and with a little more than a month left to get some solid testing. So I'm hoping to nail it down within like the next week or 2. But I think this is a good game where you can kind of play what you like. If you like a character and you put the time in, you will find the cards and the combos to make your character at minimum playable. And there's always new stuff, and with the tuned and stuff coming out, like your character, even if you're like, oh, well, all my good stuff is on this symbol, but I have access to this symbol. With all the attuned stuff, I think it really opens up deck building and to see and to keep the variety of characters at an all-time high.
I agree.
That's fair. That's fair. So no one's gonna ask me about my opinion, but I'm gonna give it anyway.
Brian,
You know,
what's your opinion? I'm
actually,
so curious.
Brian, what is your opinion on chips versus candy bars for snacks?
I'm not a huge sweets person. I like chips. They're salty. You can put them in salsa.
All right, what
anyway.
kind of chips?
I like tortilla chips.
Okay, what brand?
Any brand. I really don't care.
Is it
What do you
mainly
prefer?
just tortilla chips for you, or
I'm a big tortilla chips guy. None of that has to do with what I was going to say, though.
tortilla chips aside? Brian, what's kind of your opinion on this whole debate? I know you've been steering this for a minute. I know you've got to be like, fuming with words to say.
You do know that I like to talk. In this particular case, I do agree with Steph in some regards. I do think you have to like the character that you want to play. I think you have to like the deck that you're playing to want to put in the time to get good at it, to see real results, and that shows in a lot of different people, and seems to be the case pretty much throughout this whole group here. I don't have to necessarily like the character itself. I'm not a huge, like, I played Reiner during Atlanta, and I have said on this multiple times and in person multiple times to a lot of people, I don't really care about the AOT IP. I didn't care about him being revealed. I was like, yeah, that seems neat, I guess. I didn't care about trying to play that deck until I watched somebody else play it, and I went, whoa, you can do that? That's messed up. That's really cool. Um, and then from there, it got eroded, and I was like, you know what? It's still pretty cool. I'm gonna try it. Um, and I did fine. I could have done better. Most of that would have been time with the deck. I picked that deck, and then we were in Atlanta like a month later, and didn't really get a lot of time to practice. More practice time would have probably got me a little bit further than I was, which is why I usually pick a person and I stick with them a lot. That's why I played Ochako 2 so much. I liked them. They turned out to be good, which helps. And then as I continued to keep just playing that one person, I didn't have to learn what my deck did. I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I had to learn what my opponents were doing. But for me, obviously, winning can be fun. I mean, obviously, winning the whole thing is a big deal. It feels good to win things. But I think if you're not having fun when you're just playing the game and you don't know if you're going to win or lose, then you should probably, in my opinion, you should rethink what you're doing with that character and either maybe build a different way or maybe play a different character or play a different deck entirely, because I can't put in the time if I'm not enjoying myself. I would just do other things with my life, because at the end of the day, this is just a hobby. Like, this is just the thing I do for fun. So if I'm not having fun, why am I still doing it?
True. It is just cardboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to make sure that anyone listening understands that there is nothing wrong with net decking. Like, there is nothing at all. Like, people have controversial opinions on that. Maybe that is a controversial opinion, saying there's nothing wrong with net decking. But like, if that's what you like to do and you're like me and you just like piloting it, just do it. Like, if that makes you happy and like you don't really like, maybe you don't feel the heart of the cards in any of these and you just like running fun, good decks that pros have made, then you should do that. Because I mean, there's no better way to learn too than playing something that someone built that's good, because you see in the lines that it's good and this is how you build decks and this is how you play the game, and it helps you understand how to play it better. So like, I don't want anyone walking away from this thinking that like you have to feel something, some like intangible soul in this in these cards to be able to play them or to play well, because you don't. If you just like running good decks and you don't feel anything about it and you just want to win and play good decks, then do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But this was more for people who are like struggling because they feel like the character they really like is not as good and maybe they should drop it for a character they know is good in the meta. This is more for them, kind of support, saying you don't have to do that. You should just play what you're going to have fun with, because you're probably going to do better. But if you have fun playing good ass decks that just stomp, you should go do that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. We all just have uh like our ways of like how we feel about deck building, net decking. Like, we're all humans. We all think the same, or think differently, feel differently. Like, it's perfectly fine if you just want to look at the best decks and just be like, yeah, I want to play that because that's good. That's perfectly fine. It's just, I personally, it seems like we all share some sentiment for the most part that you it does matter to like actually like what you're playing.
So I know that at least one or two of you had some opinions about cards from the Star Trek decks. At least one card in particular.
Yes, I have big opinions about an embarrassment of duplers from the lower decks.
Wait, we're not talking about Dupler Emissary? Oh, what the hell?
No, we're talking specifically about an embarrassment of duplers.
My notes just say Dupler, so I'm kind of with Andrew on this one. I
Well-
think we talked about one and not the other, and I think we talked about the more important one. I think we go ahead and talk about
Emissary?
Emissary of Dupler.
Well, go ahead.
You even got the name wrong. You don't care.
Tell us about it, Jake.
It's a card. You can play it. It has keyword Dupler on it. It's a 6 check.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow, those are some big opinions.
These aren't opinions. These are facts.
This is kind of embarrassing.
Oof.
You're embarrassed about this Dupler card?
Yeah.
Let's talk about some embarrassment of duplers.
Yeah, we're gonna talk
What a
about-
segue!
All right, I know a couple people have talked about this. I've seen some really funny decks, specifically with Recovery Girl on an embarrassment of duplers. So what this card does is you can include any number of copies in the deck, and then you can enhance, and you can give a non-throw attack plus X damage, where X is equal to the number of duplers in your stage. So with Recovery Girl, it's really funny because she gives cards throw. So you give it all these you pump its damage, and then you give it throw with Recovery Girl. So that's the funny thing. And I saw like a couple people saying it was broken. I ran the deck. It was really funny. I don't think it's broken. I think this is really healthy for the game. I think it's really funny when like games allow you to do funny things like this. Like, yeah, my stage is going to be 45 duplers and I'm going to run 4 attacks and I'm going to make this work. I think it's healthy to be able to run these meme decks and maybe not necessarily be competitive, but you could go to locals and not just get run over and have a good time.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, this card's funny, and I've played like with this text of you can run as many copies as you want. I've played a similar deck in the old Dragon Ball Super card game because I just really liked the deck, and it was a similar premise. And yeah, it was funny. It was fun. I don't really think this is like a problem card or what have you. My only thing against it is that I don't like the fact it doesn't have the caveat of, hey, this non-throw attack can't gain throw. But also, at the end of the day, again, it's a funny card. It's a meme card. So whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for like game designers to leave space for that, to do like silly, funny things like this.
That's really my only thing for embarrassment of duplers is I don't really like that you can still give the attack throw like with Recovery Girl. But again, just who's really going to buy several of the lower decks and just being like, hey, I'm going to run like 30 of this card. I mean, sure, you can if you want. Go for it. But, you know, why?
Because it's fun and because it's funny.
Okay, but like...
I don't
Live
know.
for the meme, die for the meme.
Having like 3 of these on stage, I mean, just having access to a 9 damage whenever you need it is pretty funny. And I mean, in general, I could see general use for this on the life symbol. If you're playing a deck that gives a good amount of speed, but you just can't find damage, this is an easy include because you could play like 8 of this card, you'll see it, and I mean it's got a good block mod, like +2 block mod. It's not that bad. Like that's a playable card. So if you end up with extras in your hand, or whatever, like you can block with it. But I mean, imagine you just go, yeah, it gets +3 or +4, it gets +3 or +4, it gets +3 or +4, like 3 or 4 times, like 9 to 12 damage.
I mean, it also like reading this, I have like a bit of like carbo loading like thoughts on it because I mean, carbo loading is you're tapping carbo loading for 3 damage, right? So like this has that sort of same feel of like, yeah, I'm just gonna tap this for damage, and you have multiple like copies of the carbo loading. You're like, 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage. The embarrassment of duplers just kind of has that same feel to me.
Yeah, I think really the only decks that it's like I think crazy in is kind of like the Recovery Girl, where you can just sit here and build them in from the drop for free. So then when you can just give something like 40 damage and go, it's for half your health.
Yeah, I mean, you could just reset the stats, though, right? Like, if you have any stat reset.
Or just any way to just get rid of the attack, sure.
Or just play Emir with the same list, and then you win.
Yeah, you just play Ymir with the same list, except for you take out all the duplicate cards and you win.
Actual cards.
Definitely
Yeah.
maybe. Definitely maybe.
No, I think the cards. I think the card's interesting. Like I said, it definitely. I think it actually has a place as like Jake is saying, as like a 4 or 5, maybe 8 in a deck, just for especially on the life symbol, because sometimes it is just a little bit hard to kill. Like life will never die. Sometimes it's a little hard to kill. So I definitely think that there's a space for it somewhere in the actual game. But I do like seeing these 40 dupler deck lists online. I think it's funny, and I think it's a fun deck that you could just like talk to your locals and say, hey, I'm gonna proxy 40 duplers tomorrow, and we're gonna have some fun. And I think it's just like Steph was saying, it's important to have these alternate, not necessarily alternate win conditions, but these cards
These
that
gags,
don't,
these memes.
yeah, these cards that like don't quite fit into like what the rest of the game is doing.
Yeah, I also agree with that. As like more cards rotate out, I do feel like the power level of like foundations has kind of gone down. I was talking yesterday with somebody at the local qual or whatever that I do feel like foundations overall don't feel near as powerful as some of the older ones. Like I feel like I'm almost running into set one problems, like not problems, but like, and maybe not even to the same extent because set one had some just nuts good cards. But like
Yeah,
you still play a lot of the older foundations and stuff like from set 2 and 3, that are still really staple for certain symbols. And a product of that is probably also that not every symbol's been supported in these last 2 sets. I feel like they're front loading some of these characters in a sense, and why we're seeing some of these characters with like more stuff to do is because there's maybe less stuff to do on the foundations, which is maybe how they're trying to scale back time it takes to play a turn because like everything's right there on your face. The only issue I have with that, if that is the design philosophy, is that a lot of these characters that weren't too strong before kind of get in new design they just kind of fall off because they don't do enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ryan, how do you feel about it?
I have no particular opinion about Embarrassment of Duplers or Dupler Emissary. I think the card exists. I think it probably won't really see play. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you for shouting out Dupler Emissary. Like, thank you for drawing attention to the Dupler card. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't think it has a space in just as like a 5 to 8 copies in a regular deck.
I think the only decks that would want to do that are things like Recovery Girl, where they get to cheat them in. Because let me tell you, if you just build 2 of this card, what does it do?
Yeah, that's
That's
fair.
fair.
Yeah, you really don't start seeing a return on it until you have 3 or 4 in your stage. Like once you have 3 or 4 in your stage, but like with the checking and like going through and blocking and stuff like that, if you're playing 5 to 8, but you have to, if you're not cheating it in, I mean, I don't really think it's that playable.
Well, it's also like if you go up against like any foundation destruction, like if they see that you're just trying to set up duplers to go, ha ha, 40 damage, they can just start targeting the duplers with foundation destruction to make it harder for you to get to your game plan. So, I mean, there's also that to think about.
Yeah, I don't think it's at all competitive. I just think it's fun. I think it's healthy for the game.
Yeah,
to have
absolutely.
like options like this. I want what I really want to see in the future is a mill deck that like works and wins.
And I'm lost.
That would be so cool.
No.
A good mill deck. Yes.
Oh, like perhaps Night Eye?
Maybe.
Interesting.
Maybe someone like Night Eye would be able to do
Interesting.
something.
Maybe someone's going to their LQ with a Night Eye soon.
I don't
who
know
that
why
could
anyone
be.
would play that character. That's silly.
Yeah, I agree. Don't do it. No one do it.
Well, and we definitely haven't been testing multiple variations of Night Eye lists. Brian and I both don't have decks on different symbols for Night Eye that have both seen some amount of success.
That's true. Definitely don't feel like it might be good into characters like Bertel 2 or Reiner 2
Yeah,
Or-
I'm glad we're not doing this because Andrew would be really upset if
Yeah, he would.
anybody was doing that.
Well, I
It
would
would.
like to point out that somebody did take Toya to locals and frustrate a certain Godzilla
Oh.
gamer.
Oh, he did.
Hi.
It's you. You're the problem. It's you.
I could
Uh,
have a whole episode. I could have a 1 hour long rant by myself. I'm just sitting in an empty room ranting about Toya. Like that could be a response on play episode. And you just like
Maybe. It might be.
Pat-
We'll see.
I mean, not considering Toya anymore because I just feel like he fell off with AOT 2 dropping. So, you know.
Yeah, he
I've
fell off.
never-
Hashtag ratio plus
Yeah.
L.
yeah, literally.
yeah, he was top of the meta for a while, and now he's
Yeah.
he's just done.
I mean, it's
He
just
had-
a
It's like
Monoma
Monoma.
effect.
Yeah.
It's the Monoma effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this Monoma errata is hitting many facets of the game and its playability overall.
They eroded Monoma. Toya has fallen off. Who am I supposed to play anymore?
What's left?
I mean, the other like hundreds of characters.
It's the now. That's
Yeah,
all he's
I'll
got
have
left.
I'll have to message if anybody listening has fun deck ideas, inbox them to Andrew needs a new pet deck at it's probably unplayable.com.
Yo, you can actually get that domain?
Probably. I doubt somebody's used that yet. So with that, any final thoughts, and then we can end our responses.
And
Yes.
our responses.
Yeah, because that's what we've been doing, responding to each other.
Wow. I guess when you break it down like that.
He
Hmm.
did
That's how
it.
conversations work.
He broke it down to its most simplest, basic form.
Freaking pulled out the responses, Govey. Kind of wild.
Yeah, my final thought is believe in the heart of the cards. And if the heart of the cards is telling you to play a really good deck that you don't care about, then you should just do that. You should just listen to your heart. Be yourself and play whatever you want to play. You'll have fun.
That is terrible advice. Most people don't even like me, actually. So I will not be myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think to that point, it's just about what you find fun. Whether that's winning and you just want to play the sweatiest meta deck, whether that's your pet deck that you've been testing for a while, or kind of somewhere in between a good deck that you ended up liking that you didn't think you're going to be head for, which is whatever you think is fun, really is what it comes down to. Because that's like Brian said, it's a hobby. We're here to have fun. So if you pick up a deck that you don't like just because you think it's good, yeah, you might do well, but if you don't like it and you go and you do bad, you're going to feel even worse. So I think it's important to make sure that to an extent, no matter what you're playing, what you like.
Yeah, and I agree 100% to that. I mean, I don't really want to repeat myself of what I said earlier, but I mean, just do what you want. You're your own person. Like, we're not your parents. Do what you want. Freaking play this duper list at Nats. Well, not specifically Nats, but just at a competitive event. Freaking play that deck you don't like. Go rob a bank if you want. Actually, this is a joke. Please stop. Don't do that. But, do what you want.
Andrew on record telling our viewers to break laws.
You can't prove that. It'll be out.
Ladies and gentlemen listening and of the jury, this is how we got canceled. Cue It's
I bet
Always
you're
Sunny
wondering how we got here.
But yeah, I agree with the captain. You should just follow the 98 degrees advice and be true to your heart.
Literally, love that.
My final thoughts on the conversation at hand. World's Prizing looks cool. Kind of interesting that we're getting promos that a lot of us already own and none of them are Deku. Deck box looks good.
I love the deck box.
I could definitely deal with getting the Gen Con 2019 Deku mat though, if they wanted to, I don't know, push that back into circulation, or privately inbox me one. I am looking for one of those. Last Chance Qualifier, super fun. Talked to a guy about the podcast in person, which was cool. Shout out to Dylan. Thank you. Hopefully you're listening to this one too. It was good getting your feedback on Smiling Titan and seeing some of the combos and stuff in your life build and really talking cards. It's really fun to sit down with somebody and just be able to chat and hang out. I think on playing what you like versus what's meta, do whatever you think is going to beat Steph or James. That's probably the call. realistically, play what you like. That's part of the reason why this game is awesome. When I tell people about the card game and I say, yeah, I went to a big event in Atlanta and I didn't play the same character at all. I played 9 unique characters. People go, what? That's cool. And I go, yep, that's pretty sick. You can kind of just play what you want. Emissary, Dupler, Emissary, Dupin, good card. One difficulty for 6. I think it's great. I think it'll be in every deck.
That's fair. All right. And with that, this is Brian with no more responses.
Steph, soulful gamer.
Jake, edge shotting until I can Aaron for victory.
Andrew, and I like to party.
And I'm James. I'm just the other guy.